Going live. What's good, everybody? I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla Channel, the place where black men can express themselves freely. Straight up, no chaser. So, I'm just trying to make sure everything is going the way it should at the current moment. Yeah, so today, I'm going to be in conversation with the magazine publisher, glamour photographer, and filmmaker director, Marcus Aurelius. Now, Marcus Aurelius has been working in the music and adult entertainment industry for 20 years, over 20 years. And he is well versed and experienced with the language and behavior of women, especially black women. So, without further ado, I'd like to get my brother Marcus going here, but he's having some problems with a picture, I think. Are you there, Marcus?
Yeah, I'm right here. This is my my avatar is crooked.
Don't worry about that shit, man. You know, like my man's avatar is all jacked up, but that's all good. We can continue to work with that shit all day.
I'll fix it in the meantime. But what's going on, man?
What's going on, brother?
Good.
So you and I have become Facebook friends,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the statements and proclamations you make over that form of media, I agree with. But then there's also been points in the past where we bumped heads.
Okay.
But I think that for the most part, though, we're in agreement.
Yeah.
With a wide array of facts and a wide array of principles related to black men's condition and the kind of interaction and relationship we have with black women in the black community. So, but before I even begin, I want to insight as to your experience within the entertainment industry. You say you've been working in the music and adult entertainment industry. In what capacity, my brother?
Well, I've been around, whether you want to call it strippers, porn stars, adult entertainers for a long time, man. I'd say probably since like the late 90s. Um, for the most part, I've been a media person. So like, whether I'm taking photos, taking video, those sorts of things. We used to throw parties, we used to throw underground parties with people that shall remain nameless, in New York City. But they're well known people in that circle.
Okay.
And whether it was through me, putting a magazine out, I published Body magazine in New York for, I'd say, since 2009, 2008, 2009 to the present. And most of the girls that are in that magazine are either, urban models, dancers, escorts, whatever have you. So, I mean, that plus, just lifetime experience as a black man, dealing with black women in relationships, family members, and, girls who have reached out to me, whether it be through YouTube, social media, and stuff like that, man. You wouldn't believe how many, with all the things that I say regarding black women, a lot of women hit my inbox and tell me their stories and things like that. Whether it be from, whether they check a post out or they follow me or whatever, and they probably gather either some truth in what I say, or they feel like I'm one of them guys that's going to give them some honesty. They'll DM me or whatever, and, we'll discuss things. And they, these girls have told me some crazy things, about their experiences with relationships, men. And, not only that, they give me their own truth about how they get down as women dealing with men and how other women get down. I mean, not to say that I would need that as proof, because these are things that I observe with my own eyes and ears, and, but it's confirmation that even they are aware of what's going down.
Okay. So so you work with some so-called glamour models. I mean, basically, without because we keep it straight, no chaser here. You don't work with a couple of so-called video hoes, video vixens, or whatever the case may be.
I mean, I've worked with video vixens, whether you want, models, because the reason, there's a difference. I mean, there's girls that take pictures and they don't involve themselves in, the stuff that you're describing.
Right.
And, then there's girls who, they run the gamut, man. They're into all of those things, and I've come across all levels of, those females doing what I've been doing, like I said, since the late 90s all the way up until 2020. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Now as it pertains to your interaction with women, like you have some unique ideas. Like one of the things that I've noticed recently is that Black women are not removing themselves from the opinion or distancing themselves from the idea that somehow they're oppressed. And not only that they're oppressed by the larger white society and the culture that we live in, but that they're also oppressed because of Black male patriarchy.
Okay.
Now, let me just tell you. Okay, so I'm going to read to you something that is pretty much a universal theme that is put forth by Black women, but not only at the level of, the regular woman, the regular Black woman who's just trying to eke out a living, but Black women who are in the academy. And I mean, they say things like patriarchy is powerful. And it's not more powerful than racism, but it's powerful because Black men are able to dominate women, right? And also, one of these persons, I won't say their names, but she says that, yeah, patriarchy and racism are bad. And although racism is more bad than patriarchy from Black men, the patriarchy is still there. Now, and this comment was followed up by several other comments about how Black men are able to force women to do things that they don't want to do. But I mean, overall, my response is this: that if you look at Black male patriarchy as an ideal, a concept, a philosophy, as it were, to me, it's just primarily ideological. Now, in my viewpoint, the idea of Black male patriarchy is Black lesbian feminist imitation of white lesbian feminism.
Okay.
So you got scholars who can point to real data, real numbers, real metrics to determine white men's institutional power. I mean, you can look at it everywhere. You got Congress, you got the Supreme Court, you got CEOs of major corporations, you have the entertainment industry, or the media industry, you have the criminal justice system, you have financial institutions. I mean, everywhere you turn, you see white men in power, and they're able to use that power in order to coerce people into doing things that they normally wouldn't want to do or decide or choose to do. However, when scholars have to look and scratch around to find data to demonstrate that Black men have institutional power, they can't find it, right? Now, I'm going to tell you, so when people start talking about domination, I don't even know if you know what domination is. I mean, but philosophically speaking, or academically speaking, domination is the ability to take away people's choices. That's what that is. So it's like the ability to take away somebody's ability to self-determine and push them towards one choice or maybe two choices when normally there would be an option of 5 choices that a person could make. I'm saying, how can black men stop women from doing any damn thing? Black women, the last time I checked, they can go to school, they can own property, they can work, vote, divorce, abort, and they can do a whole bunch of things without black men's permission. Now, when you start talking about oppression, that's another thing they talk about, oppression. Now, a lot of people throw that term around, but in an academic sense, philosophically speaking, oppression is basically defined as taking away people's ability to develop their talents, their skills, so that they can achieve flourishing and thriving and well-being. Well, the last time I checked, you have in every major index of well-being, black women doing and girls doing better than boys, black men and boys. So if you talk about life expectancy, you talk about education, incarceration, professional development, lower numbers of people being killed by the police. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. So my strategy has been to go head to head with these individuals who promote these ideals, namely that there's such a thing as black male patriarchy and that black women are dominated and oppressed. That, let's just go head to head. Let's talk about it. Let's argue about it. Let's have a conversation about it so we can get to the bottom of the problem. And so I can demonstrate to you by the means of reason, by appeal to arguments and reason, that you're wrong. That you're wrong. Now, in your opinion, this strategy just ain't gonna work. It's just not gonna work. So tell me why do you feel like that?
Before I answer that directly, let me speak to some of the things you have been saying. First of all, there's no black male patriarchy. That's a myth. Okay, just by definition, that's a myth. Okay,
right.
The patriarchy we live in is white male patriarchy. Period. We all live under it. They live under it. White women live under it. Black men live under it. Period. There is no black male patriarchy. Okay. There is, it's like you said, they're trying to duplicate the ideas of white feminism and superimpose them onto the black community. The black men do not run the black community. All right. There's no control that we can exert on black women to do or to not be able to do things, as far as progress, get education, things like that. We don't control those things. Every time I talk to a so-called black feminist about, what she's fighting for and, how black men are oppressing her, she starts talking about wage gap. And the first thing I ask her is, well, what black man or what black corporation are you working for that is paying black men better than they're paying you? That's the first thing I ask them.
Right.
There's no such thing as a black patriarchy or a black male patriarchy. Okay, that's number one. Now, no disrespect to scholars, but we don't need scholars to tell us that. That shit is apparent in our face.
Now, before you go on and say anything else, I concur with you 100% on that. Because what I think is happening is you get caught in these debates with these people in these lofty positions who sit in these ivory towers, who have no experience with people dealing with the muck and the mire of existence. They're not in the mud. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Their daily interaction primarily is with white people.
Yeah.
Many of these people who are spewing this ideology are typically people who are even married, have intimate partner relationships with white people, right? Some of their closest friends are white people. Now, I'm not trying to, demerit anybody for whatever choices they make in their life. But what I do know is the shit rolls downhill. So while they're theorizing in the ivory tower and reiterating the talking points of white feminism, that shit rolls downhill and has a disparate impact on black men's lives. Because all this patriarchal talk goes into policies and laws and acts and initiatives, which primarily get enforced Because if you talk about enforcement of any laws, who's disparately impacted by the enforcement of laws? It's us.
Understood. I'm gonna say this though. With black women in particular, depending on which black woman you speak to and which day you speak to her, either there's oppressive black patriarchy or there's not enough black patriarchy. Meaning this, either there is a black patriarchy and we're dominating, or this one girl on my page was in a debate with me talking about how black men are subjugating black women. I'm like, fuck out my face. But in another conversation on another day, they'll say that we need to be patriarchal because women benefit from patriarchy. Okay? Women benefit from patriarchy. All of this begging for protection and provision is patriarchy. That is a patriarchal function. You want us to provide for you and protect you. If we are equal, you don't need that from us. Okay? But you want us to provide and protect. That is patriarchy. See, what's going on, what's happening is these women want the benefits of patriarchy without being obligated to reciprocate their role in it. All right? So that's why I say black patriarchy is a myth. If a woman wants to start a business, get an education, whatever she wants to do in her life, she can leave the community and do so. We cannot hold her back. We have no power. That's another thing black women, especially on social media, like to throw in our face, that we're conquered and we have no power. We're powerless and things like that. They're well aware of these things, just like white folks are well aware of white privilege. Okay? The reason why I say, and I don't know if like you say reason, as we put in the title of this video, reasoning, shame, whatever word you want to use. The reason why that won't work is because it's the same way how reasoning and shaming white folks hasn't worked. You can't shame and reason people out of power. Okay, black women, okay, relative to black men, have a certain amount of power in this, this society. Okay, they say black men are the white people of black people. That's bullshit. Black women are the white people of black people because they have like you said, the control of the state. They have the control of the government. They have the control of the courts and all of those things. All right. In China, there's a patriarchy because the men have that power and the men have control of the children. If a man separates with his wife, he gets custody. That's patriarchy. Okay. And she may or may not be allowed to see those kids. That's patriarchy. What we live in the black community is matriarchy, and a dysfunctional one at that. But what I'm saying to you is there's power in that. You cannot negotiate power. Proof, we've been doing it with white folks for decades and centuries, actually. You can't shame power. People do not acquiesce power from shame and reasoning. We've been trying to negotiate our equality with white folks for years. What makes anyone think that we're going to do that with black women?
So let me just get this straight. So this is the thing that befuddles me then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's one thing to articulate a position.
Yeah.
Right? And to believe that position is true. It's another thing altogether to articulate a position knowing full well it's a goddamn lie.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, let's just make it a simple example so you could like really get to the gist of this shit.
No doubt.
White people say there's no racism in our country. This is not a racist country. Right? Now, okay, so now you're dealing with two situations. Either you got a group of people who believe wholeheartedly either they're lying to themselves, or either they feel like there is no racism in this country, or either they're just outright fucking lying and denying it because it keeps them in power. So there's three options. Either you don't know because you feel that there isn't, either you don't want to know, or either you're just outright fucking lying.
Listen,
okay,
man.
So what's the when we shift the conversation to black women, it seems to me as if when they're talking, it's like we really feel like there's such a thing as black male patriarchy, and you subject us to it, and it's harmful, and it's oppressive, and it's dominating, and we won't decide. Either they're fucking lying out of their teeth, either they're wrong, or either they just believe it so wholeheartedly that we're at an impasse.
Listen, bro, you know the phrase, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was fooling people into thinking that he didn't exist, right?
Okay.
That's a phrase that, whether true or not, we understand what it means. What it means is, if I let you know, right? Because this is all weaponized victimhood. Okay, they're weaponizing victimhood. It's passive aggression, right?
Oh wow.
If I let you know, right, that you're the one being victimized and not me, all right, then you'll act upon that. But if I can convince you that you're the abuser and I'm the victim, it's all gaslighting. Okay, that's a dope comment, Taylor, by the way. The thing is, women have a God complex. Black women have a God complex within the black community, but at the same time, they play victim when they need to. It's the play dead thing. It's like my man says, Sun Tzu. It's like, when you're trying to, lure your enemy into a trap. Okay? So to answer your question directly, they're lying. It's like when people say white privilege and people be like, privilege? What white privilege? Now, the question as far as white privilege, and I'm only using this as an example, not to change the topic, but, the first thing people may say is, well, what about the white man who has nothing? How is he privileged? And he might wonder himself, how am I privileged? I'm poor. I have nothing. You know what I'm saying? And you have a lot of women out here who, in their experiences, is not apparent to them that they have power. I was watching Rebecca Lynn Pope yesterday. She had an interview with these guys. Rebecca Lynn Pope. She used to be a matchmaker, and she said there's a good amount of women out here who are nice women, kind, or whatever. So when we talk about the women that we're speaking of, they're like, but what about me? I'm this, I'm that, I'm not like that, etc., etc. But it's like the point you made in your Play-Doh video, these women have the option to be corrupt.
Now, before you go further, I want to shout out Angry Man. Thank you for joining us today. And
Angry Man. I rocks with Angry Man.
So basically, he posed a challenge. He might have came a little bit later into the cast because you've already established that we live under a white patriarchy. Bottom line.
Yeah.
So my whole argument the whole time has been the following. Black women, insofar as they pose less of a threat than black men, are able to tap into patriarchal power, and not financial or fiduciary patriarchal power. They're able to tap into the punitive arm of white patriarchal power.
And at times the punitive arm of the black community or the hood.
However,
I just want to say peace yada. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
However, though, I will say And like I posted a video not too long ago, so I might want to even draw back or pull back on my own remark, because I put out a video with Shahrazad Ali. And she basically says that in reference to subsidization by government policy, Black women have been given a whole host of benefits that Black men just don't have access to. Like, Black men don't have Section 8. I mean, they can get it, but typically, if you even do get a Section 8 voucher, who the fuck is gonna let a Black dude live in his goddamn apartment by himself? First thing he's gonna start thinking is this guy's suspicious. Okay? WIC vouchers, welfare, healthcare, child income tax credit. There are a whole host of subsidies that have been apportioned to women, by all women, right, in similar predicaments. And Black women are able to participate in that subsidization precisely because they're women.
Yeah.
And Black men have not been given this leg or extended this, this same help, these same benefits. And simultaneously, they've been pushed out of a market that once used to be not service-based, but manufacturing-based. Not service-based, but manufacturing-based, right? Not only that, the punitive state has ramped up its energy. They're like, okay, let's just start locking niggas up and putting them in jail for anything. Let's criminalize Black male life. So while all their jobs are gone, let's start putting them in jail. Let's flood the hood with dope. And at the same time, all these poor women with these kids, somebody has to protect them. So then white men get to set up a system where these women receive these subsidies, but Black men just get lumped on the head and get hit with hard knocks.
Well, if you notice, when cops shoot unarmed Black men, the civil settlements go to the mother. They don't go to the dad, even when the dad is in the picture. That's number one. Another thing I want to say is, I don't like to dwell on the parts of like these issues of, in reference to who's being treated better by white society, whether it be Black. I mean, it's a real thing, but to me, it sounds like sibling rivalry. It's like white daddy is treating you better than me, versus, you understand what I'm saying? Like, like the video I put up on Facebook yesterday, where it's like, Black women are upset that, Black men seem to get more press for their murders. Like, to be honest, that can be compared to an all lives matter argument, because we get murdered more by police and hate crimes in general out this motherfucker than Black women do. But it's like trying to argue for I guess sexual assaults or whatever. But at the end of the day, this is what I'm gonna say. When it comes to Black women's power, like, that can be drawn not only from the greater white society, not their proxy powers and things like that, even some that come from the thugs they love so much, is all being able to use victimhood to move people to act, but again, these are the same women that will tell you and I that we are powerless and we are conquered men, and they'll throw these types of things at us. So which one is it? Which day are you feeling like? Are you feeling like the Black woman who has surpassed and is light years ahead of their shiftless, bummy PS5, wanting Black men? Or today, are you the woman that we're abusing, we're keeping from things, and there's a wage gap and somehow we benefit? There's also this, you know, they have this idea that because they're black and they're women, they use the word intersectionality, like, okay, being a woman in this society is a down, you know, a downfall, and then also being black is a downfall, and then they turn it around and say, okay, you're black but you're a man, as if there's some sort of camaraderie between men, you know, of black men and white skin, pardon me, black men and white men in this society, like, you know, we benefit from being men, you know, so you know, we collude with white men against white women and black women, and we have that one up, when it's actually the opposite, because black men are a threat here. So because we're men in a society where the dominant men views us as a problem, that's a negative. It's not a positive. If I ask a black woman what is black male privilege, right? What is black male privilege? She can't answer me. They'll say there's such thing as black male privilege, and then they'll start listing male privilege. There's such thing as male privilege, just like there's such thing as female privilege. But if I say black male privilege, they can't answer that question. If I ask them, give me a list of things that's black male privilege. Because if I ask them what's white male privilege, anyone can answer that question. White male privilege is privileges that are exclusive to being white and male. There is no privileges that are exclusive to being black and male. Okay? I'm not talking about general male privilege. I'm talking about privileges only black men enjoy. That's it.
Yeah, okay, so let me tell you, man, a long time ago, I tell this story over and over again. Y'all might be tired of hearing it, but it's the most crazy shit in the world. So, you know, as an academician, man, you find yourself in circles with people who are not exactly like you, don't have the same background that you have, don't have the same sexual orientation that you have, don't have the same race that you have. So I put up a post, a meme, and the meme was basically sarcastic. And it had Caitlyn Jenner on one part of it, and it said, "This is a beautiful woman." And then it has Serena Williams at the bottom portion of it, and it said, "This is an ugly man." And it was a question mark, right? So as soon as I posted that on my Facebook page, this motherfucker went in on it. Now, the irony to me is this was a white trans woman, right? Which to me is like the signal of privilege to me. Okay, so you mean to tell, first of all, you're already a member of two privileged classes, however you identify yourself.
The white guy.
You're white. Period.
Yeah.
So, but then you were previously a man who basically decided to become a fucking woman. Now you have the audacity to sit there and berate black men and tell black men that they're fucking privileged. And this same motherfucker is going out winning world-class events in women's sports because they have an unfair advantage through nature.
I think you mentioned this to me before. We discussed this.
It's like, dude, when I tell you my fucking head is about to explode, I'm so pissed off with this politically correct culture, man. Like, that's why it's important for like comedians like Dave Chappelle to come out and talk to motherfuckers like for real. And then they'll try to silence you. But you know what? You say shame doesn't work, but I'm gonna tell you something, bro. And I'm gonna be 100% real with you, dog.
Mm-hmm.
This politically correct culture has got black men sitting on their fucking hands, not saying nothing about it, bro.
We saying plenty,
but only outside of the circle of the corporate and academic world.
Yeah, but we're not allowed there. Listen. The thing is, the only reason we even have this amount of voice is because of the internet, and that's something I was going to say earlier. Is when you're talking about, you know, black women are afforded this and that. Black women have had national platforms, television, radio, all type of shit to tell their experiences, whether real or perceived, with us. Right? They've had all of that, you know. I was just on YouTube some weeks back, and a few of these women, I mean, a few of these guys know, few of y'all know what I'm talking about. You had Claudia Jordan and Vivica Fox and Lisa Ray, and I forget who's the fourth woman, and they were on, I think, Fox. It was either a Fox powered situation or one of these major, you know, um media media vessels, and they were talking about black men and this, that, and third. We've never had that. I'm not gonna blame black men for not being able to, access one of those lanes, because the only time a black man is able to access one of those lanes is when they throwing us under the bus. So my thing is, the lanes of communication that we have been using, and we've been using them so effectively. If you don't think that this stuff is taking effect, man, you could just look at commercials. But social media is powerful. We've been all over social media, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, saying what we're saying, to the point where now these women who enjoy Jenny Jones and Ricky Lakes and Tyra Banks and Oprah and all these other Donahues and everybody else throwing us under the bus for years before social media and the internet was a thing. Now they're the victims. Now, oh, y'all are bashing black women, and that's all y'all do. And the internet is a bash black woman fest, or whatever, whatever, whatever. But back in the day, when it was, oh, all black men are in jail, or we're this or we're that. These were the topics of a lot of these TV shows. So they always had that lane. But we're talking, bro. I'm from the old school manosphere YouTube. The SWPs and the Thugticians and all of these guys, man. I'm from back then. I wasn't speaking on YouTube. I didn't have a channel where I was putting my thoughts out there, but I was rocking with all these guys.
Well, this is what I will say. Only because I've been in academia for so long, maybe my fucking nose, you know what I'm saying, my head has been in the clouds too goddamn long. You know what I'm saying? So to even have a place where black men can talk about what's real, unfiltered, untrammeled, without all this ideology, being used to try to stymie anything that runs contrary or contradictory to it, it's just refreshing to me. But you know what, though? There is a phenomenon out here where you got a lot of black men. There's not necessarily in the academy, like blog writers and shit. Like just today, I saw an article on Save Yourself Black Man, right? SYSBM. And the article was written by a man that was going in on SYSBM and basically articulating the idea that these groups, this underground voice, is filled with men that are incels. First of all, like I'm keeping 100, bro. I ain't never been no fucking incel. You know what I'm saying? Like this, they're trying to diminish the legitimacy of the claim that black men are making in these spaces. And they're doing so, and it's men doing this shit. I mean, Young, very smart brother, or whoever else wrote this article. And it's like just basically taking everything that's being said and lumping it into the pile of misogynistic language.
This is what I'll say about that, and I don't mean to cut you off, right? Now I'm gonna be honest with you. While I think that's a cop out, the truth is this, and there's a bit of truth. Any movement, right, has its radical, extreme, erroneous side. So like, if you got Muslims that just say they want peace, you got the motherfuckers that want to blow shit up, right?
Right.
You got, I'm just the good cop, and then you got the cops that show up to work every day looking for the drama. You got every group. You got the feminists that say, hey, look, we just want to be respected as human beings, and then you got the groups that say, fuck men, we better than you, and pussy power and all this other shit. When it comes to, because I've been around this. Let me say this, right? And I'll add this to I guess my acumen, right? I've been saying all this shit since I'm in high school. Okay, anybody who knows me, okay, long enough knows that I've been talking this, I guess, quote unquote, red pill shit since I'm a teenager. So we talking about the 80s, bro. We talking about the late 80s, early 90s. I've been talking this shit, right? So none of this shit is new to me. I had a comic strip when I was in high school called The Gold Digger, where chick was getting dudes for their bread and all this other shit. Everybody that went to high school with me remembers this shit. I used to talk shit about women. I wrote an article in the school newspaper that got blocked by the principal about women. I've been saying this shit for years and years and years and years. This is not something that I grew up and some shit happened to me and I'm like, oh shit, look at what women are doing. So before YouTube, before the internet, this was my view of women. It's just a power thing. It's like I said, man. At the end of the day, we are in a I guess a micro situation in our Black community where Black women are allowed to do the things in a greater patriarchy that the person who controls the greater patriarchy would never allow his women to do. And it's done on purpose.
But Marcus, this is what I have to say about this. Because just as you are having at the current moment ideas being articulated about the excessiveness and the kind of radicalness of feminism amongst people in the Black sphere, the Black public sphere or the manosphere, is also beginning to trickle over into the white spaces who are beginning to think the same shit. And look, hold on.
Because I missed saying the point, but go ahead. I missed the point, but go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead and hit your point, though. Go ahead and hit your point, bro, before you forget.
But I was going to say real quick, and I'll make it short so you don't forget, you don't lose your train of thought. Now, when it comes to MGTOW, Red Pill, and all this other shit, you got a lot of guys that kind of dilute the message, right? I'm in a lot of groups on Facebook where you got a lot of guys, who are incel types. Now, incel is motherfucker who ain't getting pussy, not because he is choosing not to, but because he cannot get pussy.
Right.
And I'm in a lot of groups, and I come into contact with a lot of guys who, just on their very face, let's keep it real, you could look at these motherfuckers and tell that they're not successful with women. And you got guys like us who make a valid argument, and these guys are drawn to spaces where we are, or they invite us into their spaces because they think that we are the same or that our views align. I get a lot of people who add me to groups or who add me as a friend because they think that inherently I hate women and I'm like them, but they are the rejected Black men in Black society. Okay, so they have other issues with women. We don't have issues with women per se. We have issues with, behaviors and, things that influence behaviors and things like that. I don't get on social media and talk about how ugly Black women are, how they stink and this and that and the third. And this is the type of stuff that I see online, bro.
Look, man, look, I'm here with you on that one, man. Like, first of all, I don't hate Black women.
No, I know you don't.
Like the last video I put out here, I put it out there to illustrate philosophically that absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Absolutely.
So if I don't even care if it's a sliver of power,
indeed,
you're gonna use that power in order to fulfill your self-interest or to manipulate circumstances that work out to your advantage. That's natural human. That's just human nature. Bottom line. So if you have leverage, let's say for example, you decide to split up from your lady, and you take her to court. 9 times out of 10, you can't use the kind of strategies that she can use when she's separating from you, because she can basically, what a lawyer's going to tell her is, okay, honey, this is what you're going to do if you want to divorce him. Claim abuse, get him out of the house, take control of the children, and that's going to work. Effectively, you can just get him out of the house. Like a man, 9 times out of 10 can't use that strategy because he's been the one that's typecast, or men in general have been the ones that are typecast as abusers, right? Or domestic violence, right? So you can't use the same kind of state or institutional power afforded to women, no matter who they are, Asian, Latino, black, white, whatever. You can't use the same state mechanisms in order to gain leverage.
Absolutely
as
not.
Women can. And see, those are the things that we take issue with. That's what we take umbrage with.
Absolutely. But let me ask you this. If you had that power at your disposal, right? Like, let's nah, you know what? I'm not even gonna make that analogy.
No, make the analogy. Go deep with it, bro. Fuck all that.
I'll use another example. It's similar. Let's say you're Hugh Hefner.
Right.
And you got bitches coming in and out of the mansion.
Right.
Fucking bitches left and right. And then you got all these people that say, hey, man, you're a womanizer. You ain't shit. You this, you that. They talking all this about you. They calling you names. You know? But here you are, a rich man. You got a big old mansion. And you got all these women revolving doing. You living a great life. You enjoying it. You loving it. How much of that shame and name calling and you know and all of that is gonna make you give that up?
Right. I see what you're saying.
The thing is this, bro. No matter how many, you know, films of dogs attacking black people or hoses being sprayed on us, or none of that shit, right? At the end of the day, you might have people, you're going to have a few people say, you know what, that's fucked up. That shouldn't happen, right? But they ain't trading places with you.
Right.
They're not going to share power with you. They say, you know what, I don't want things to change. I don't want to give up my power. Maybe we shouldn't do that to these people. But you don't want to compete. You don't want to really be equal. You want an advantage. It's human nature to want the advantage, to want the power position, to want the upper hand, bro. We all trying to be out here getting money. We all trying to win. And all of those things, you know, come with advantages, power, and upper hand. We all want those things. A black woman with her, like somebody said, you know, they don't call that power. I don't call it power either, but it's proxy. It's proxy power. The sun shines and we see the moon at night, but the moon doesn't shine. It's illuminated, but we see it. It's light. It's light reflecting off the moon onto the earth so that the moon is visible. It doesn't matter that the moon doesn't shine. What matters is it looks like it is, right? So at the end of the day, if a black woman can get her way through the power of a proxy, it doesn't fucking matter. And not only that, calling her a bitch or a hoe, whatever you want to call her, she'll take that. If she's gonna stay in power, or she's gonna lie to you and tell you you're the abuser. It's called gaslighting.
Right, true.
She's gonna say, I'm not really in control. You are. It's a trick.
That's what, like, at the end of the day, this is how I feel. I feel like, especially black men have been shamed. I won't even call shame. I'll say this. Black men have been socialized into being workhorses, into being providers, into being protectors, into being obsequious, into being self-abnegating, into
Absolutely.
being John Henry, into being, that motherfucker who's gonna beat the steam drill down in order to make sure everybody else is okay.
Yeah.
And women know that shit. Women know that shit.
Listen, man.
And they work that shit. They work it, and they twerk it. They don't work it, they twerk that motherfucker. You feel what I'm saying? They work that shit. And they use it to make you feel guilty when you're not living up to that idealistic expectation. And look, most of the relationships that I've been in, look, these women, like the mother of my first child, I was in a fucking Office Depot buying a computer stand. And this woman, man, basically was like, you want me to help you put that together? Shit, I mean, after 3 years, we had a little bundle of joy come into the motherfucking world. But see, the thing got twisted when she began to make more and more financial demands on me. And look, I don't have a problem breaking bread with the partner I'm with. But if you breaking me to break bread with you, if you on my head demanding shit, you know what I'm saying? Then to me, you put me in a position to where you feel like I have to do some shit. Then that to me spells domination. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't make me. Go ahead, bro.
No, I was saying I do understand. I mean, in the sense, listen, a couple weeks back, we seen a woman in Central Park get on her phone and call the police and say, hey, there's a black man. He's attacking me, right? And she put on the voice and she put on the whole act on the phone.
Right.
She did that on, and not only that, I mean, I put on social media about the cops doing shit on camera that they know they can do on camera because they know that this shit ain't gonna mean nothing. These women are doing this shit with the camera phone pointed at them like, yo, I don't care if you're taping me. At the end of the day, my privilege will prevail. It will defeat all of that. And in the same manner, Black women can use that same power, whether it be for the greater, dominant society, or for Black, foot soldiers, or these types of dudes. We've been trained, bro. Black men have been trained. Black men are some of the most subjugated motherfuckers on the place. And we've been lied to on all sides. You know what I mean? Like, not only were we told we are the abusers, so then we get online and then we have to deal with other men telling us, well, this is what we are doing to Black women and we got to do better and all this other simp shit. Okay? And the minute you mention, the mere mention of what Black women may be doing to not only Black men, but Black boys is blasphemous.
Yeah.
The Black woman is God.
Oh man, that's shit crazy.
You understand what I'm saying? The Black woman is God. Okay?
Ain't that brother Polite kicking that bullshit around?
I don't know if I've ever heard him say that because he's flanked with white girls. But
man, ain't no motherfucker on God's green earth God, man.
Yo, man.
Now we might be emanations of God's creation, but ain't nobody on this motherfucker God, man.
But I'm speaking figuratively. What I'm saying is in the context of what's allowed to be said and what's not allowed to be said, in the context of what's blasphemy. You cannot speak ill of the Black woman in greater Black society. We are the outliers, bro. A lot of us that talk this stuff, we are the outliers. We're the heathens of TWIG, ideology. We are the heathens, bro. We are the blasphemous guys.
And you know what?
So,
I tell you what, life goes on, circles and cycles, series of reasons, giving birth to the 4 seasons. Long as I'm breathing, I got reason to be a heathen. If being a heathen is a reason and not believing in a false demon, I just thought I would say that shit because I'm slick with the mic device. All right.
No doubt. I got rhymes too. I ain't got nothing to fit this combo right now.
I'm just talking shit, man. You know how
I could dig it. But yo, at the end of the day, man, what I'm saying is like homie said in the comments, power has to be taken. Like you know, if this is the thing, right? We are in a situation where the proxy power being given to Black women is not coming from us. There's a difference. Let me bust this down. The power that's coming to white feminism is coming directly from white men. There is no white feminism without white patriarchy.
Exactly.
The reason why you have Black feminists, saying what they're saying, they can always reach an arm out to white patriarchy, except only against us though. The power only extends from white patriarchy to Black feminism in relevance to us. Outside of that is nothing. It's like Emperor Palpatine trying to push out a lightning bolt and that shit ain't working. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what it is. But what I'm saying is in reference to that, like these women being in the positions that they're in, they're not going to give that up. And in this, because they don't get their power from us, we can't take it away.
True indeed.
We can't take it away. So a lot of these guys that I was seeing in the beginning of this pandemic that were like they're like hopeful. That's why you got a lot of Black conservatives now rooting for Trump and this and that and the other, because they figure if Trump or the right, conservatives, if they take power, if they take the air out of feminism, then that takes the air out of Black feminism, right? But then there's of course the racial component that we still have to deal with when it comes to the right. So like we don't win either way. It's like I told my guys when Trump was running against Hillary that we're fucked either way, because either we dealing with racism or we dealing with feminism. Is fucked. We're fucked either way.
But let me say this. Let me say this, and I'm gonna interject on this. I'm gonna tell you when this shit is going to end. Okay, it's going to end when it begins to have an adverse impact on white dudes. I'm telling you, like, you might not believe this, but right now there are a whole host of white motherfuckers who are feeling the crunch of feminist policy all throughout the United States, bro. All throughout the Western world, in fact, domestic violence policy is fucking killing them. No fault divorce is killing them. Child custody is killing them. And the policies, this is what I call the chickens coming home to roost. Because now this shit is beginning to, what they have given birth to or what they have allowed through an act of omission to come to be, it's like them in the ass now. And so I was watching this guy. Usually I watch his channel. Like, first of all, you already gotta expect white people to white people. They're not gonna change. Like a lot of these motherfuckers, like we was talking about racism and how people just don't admit it, or either they know goddamn well it exists and they just lie about it like the devil.
Yeah.
Lies about existing. Okay. Now, this guy has a channel, Steve Brule. And he's basically going boo-hooing and shit, talking about white men are under attack. Everywhere you turn, everybody's saying that white men are like terrible, horrible people. They're racist, female-hating bigots. Well, the reality is you are. And some of you who are more liberal have decided to apportion to women certain positions in this culture. And they've run amok right now. And they have done so through shaming and guilting. And one thing that you have to be aware of and cognizant of in relation to anthropology and understanding about women's conceptualization or imagery and men's conceptualization and imagery in Western culture. Women have always been seen as more innocent, more virtuous, more refined, at least from at least the 17th century on up till now. They've been seen as the fairer sex. The women who are wonderful, who could do no wrong. And then you got the
women are wonderful effect.
Right.
That's a real
then you
thing.
got the basket ass men who have no refining or moral qualities or character outside of the context of being good family men or good soldiers or some other such fuckery or good workers. So your whole pretext for life is centered around being able to protect and provide for women. I mean, in Western culture, that's what manliness is.
Yeah, that's a social thing. That's not a biological thing.
So this being the case, now they're catching hell and realizing that this equality of women thing, like women, they've gone too fucking far, bro. Like that's all I can say. Like I'm not saying that women don't need to be treated as human beings with full dignity and have the same set of rights and powers that men have in certain respects. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying you can't have that shit and have the other shit too.
Nah.
You can't bring home the bacon and then expect for me to come home and give you money when you out there getting money too, and you ain't the pot. You can't be treated at the same time as a full equal partner, but then be treated like a helpless, hapless victim that needs to be tended to and provided for and protected. You can't have that at the same fucking time. It's oxymoronic. It's contradictory. You can't have both at the same time. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Which way you motherfuckers want this? Is my viewpoint. So you want to be equal, but you don't want men to say shit to you that's deprecating. If a man says some shit I wouldn't like, I'm gonna tell the dude right there to his face, I don't agree with that shit, bro.
Yeah.
But if a woman says something I don't agree with, I gotta be polite and I gotta be, respectful of her womanhood, such that I don't want to offend her sensibilities or some other fuckery.
Well,
Not time for that no more. The rules of that game is over with, bro.
The reason that happens is, it's not just women. It's a lot of guys who, they perpetuate, and I said this a couple days ago, they perpetuate a bubble of bullshit around women that either protects their feelings or, they do it to solidify pussy. All right. Women are lied to constantly throughout their lives, from since they're young all the way up into their adulthood. So when guys talk like us, that's why the truth hurts them so much. When you say real shit, is because it actually goes against the shit that they've been told all their lives. Like, you tell them that they're this and they're that, and men are supposed to do this and that for them. And, it gets to a point where they feel like they're owed these things. Like these things are owed to them. It's like, I was talking to somebody today, and they were talking about, white guys who are committing suicide and things like that. And I think that happens because, you got a lot of white men who in this society, they're told that they're supposed to be the winners. So, you got white men in this society who can't get their shit together, even despite obvious privileges. They kill themselves because they're not measuring up to that idea of what white men are supposed to be in this country. So, the same thing goes with when it comes to, black women. Black women have been told that these things are supposed to come to them. They're owed these things. And, you're women, you're supposed to get a man that's provided for you. That's why a lot of these women, they can't be happy in relationships because they've been told that they deserve some baller who's this tall, makes this amount of money, and doesn't cheat on her and gives her the world. You know what I mean? And they can't meet that. They can't meet that standard because those men either don't exist or they exist in very small numbers. And again, that's a whole nother topic. But getting back to the power dynamic, man. At the end of the day, if they're told that nobody's supposed to hit them, and nobody's supposed to say bad things about them, and nobody's supposed to reject them, because we got a bunch of movements right now that's telling women in general that all their flaws are to be accepted. You know what I mean? Like in this society, these things are blasphemous, and these women, anything that is coming at them like that, they react to it extra negatively. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, in the same manner that a white person could be totally in the wrong, but they'll call the police on you with the confidence that when the police show up, they'll be on their side. That's a powerful thing. But you know, these women with the power that they have, man, you know, because they're told they're better than us, these women grow up being told that they're better than you. They're being told that they're better than black women. I mean, pardon me, black men. They're being told that they're above you. They're being told that you are born of service to them. Why in the hell would they relinquish that? White folks have been told that they're genetically better than black people, and many of them really believe it. And it is difficult for them as a collective, not individually, because a lot of them individually don't believe that. And as far as black women, there are a lot of black women that follow me and that are on my page who do not subscribe to this bullshit. I have to say that because it's the same as giving credit to anybody that fights for your cause when they don't have a dog in the fight. You have to include those people. But at the same time, as a collective, they have been taught that they are better than you. And no matter what you say about them, it doesn't matter. If I'm rich and I'm living in my nice mansion and with all my bad chicks, and you a dude on the street with nothing, and you're telling me that I ain't shit and this, that, and the third, I'm gonna attribute that to, oh, you're a hater. You're just mad you're not me. And you wish you were me, and you wish you were in this mansion with all these girls, and you just mad, and you haven't done anything for yourself, and you haven't worked hard, and this, that, and the third, whatever. You got a lot of these black women with all their proxy power and all the government aid and all the shit that they've been given. They think that they have wrangled themselves to a point where they have exceeded black men in this country, just like every other race thinks that. Why would black women be any different? Yeah, why would black women be any different? They're going to believe that inherently and naturally they have exceeded, you know, where we are in reference to class and power here. So, of course, no matter what you say to these women, no matter what you tell them, no matter what you call them, I mean, they got slut walks. You can't call them sluts no more and affect them. Like, they're sluts. They're proud sluts. You can't call them sluts no more. They doing slut walks. They call themselves sluts. They say, hey, we sluts, and we gonna be sluts, and we don't care what you say. We gonna do us. And they're turning those shame words into power, because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is results. And they're getting what they want from it. And you got us who are outside of the party saying, hey, you ain't shit. And they're saying, you just mad because I'm in this mansion and I got all these hoes around me and I got all this money and I got the pool and the grotto and this and that and the other, and I got all the power and I got our kids and I got your house and I got your money coming to me every month, and you just mad, nigga. You just mad, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I got to throw the nigga moment stink meaner on it. What you gonna do, nigga? What is you gonna do? You know what I'm saying?
You know what?
At the end of the day, you cannot shame that. You can't shame it. If I'm getting my dick waxed nightly, ain't nobody could tell me or make me feel bad about it, because this is my life. This is what I want to do, and I'm getting all the benefits, and I'm loving it.
Well, you know, my big point is this, man. All I can say is this, bro. We already know that racism primarily is a phenomenon that's directed towards black men. It's a war primarily that men wage against black men.
Absolutely.
In the United States. Now, black women like to act like, well, I am too. But, I mean, the hard facts is, I mean, if you look at the data, they're not attacked like we are. And on my podcast with Dr. Tiasan Johnson, I gave a perfect example of why that's not the case by means of reading from David Walker's appeal. And in this, like this document that David Walker, who was an abolitionist radical, basically encouraged black men to rebel, even if they died. Fuck it, it's better than living under this bullshit slave-based condition that we're in. I mean, ultimately, he gave a recounting of a story in which you had like 60 black men chained up who managed to break free, but the women and children were walking around unhindered. It's the same situation. But black women will not admit it, although some of them will, but by and large, they will not. And they have basically interpolated the white feminism and used them to apply to black men. And black men are just tired of this bullshit. I'm not about to be gaslit anymore. Now, I might not be able to shame them for being sluts, but if you want to be a slut, go ahead and be one. It's your thing. Do what you want to do. I can't tell you who to talk to. Do what the fuck you want to do. But don't come trying to make me a motherfucking husband after you done had about 50 dicks all up inside you. I don't want that. That's just me. That's just me. Or,
No, understood.
Or, plain and simple, just admit and stop coming forward with this bullshit that you know is just false ideologically all across the board. You making life worse for us. Basically, you're the agent of white supremacy. We tired of you fucking using these white girl talking points because white women were slave owners. They were colonialists. They were segregationists. They were there at lynchings. They were there at the civil rights movement spitting on boys and girls, little black boys and girls trying to go to school with them. They formed organizations like the Daughters of the Confederacy. Then you adopt their talking points in order to berate us, and the only thing they're left with is domestic violence and rape. But at the same time, you got these women slapping and punching us around and then calling the police on us and destroying the entirety of our fucking lives out of hubris and the exercise of that proxy power. I'm just tired of white women and black women using white patriarchy as if they're trying to abolish it and destroy it as a tool to fuck with us. I'm sick of that bullshit because I know for a goddamn fact, like you said earlier, feminism don't have a leg to stand on. All these women's liberation movements don't have a leg to stand on. No policy, no act, no law without white men to enforce the shit. Because who's banging the gavel behind the goddamn bench? White man. Who's the law enforcement officer who's going to show up at your door? White man. Who's the motherfucker going to process the claim at an institution of higher learning? Probably some black women that's been appointed by some white man. So at the end of the day, all of this shit is one goddamn big game, and we're the ones getting hit like pinatas.
This is all facts, man. But you know, because we got the short end of the stick, we're the one having this conversation. And you know, for whatever losses that black women are taking by, you know, playing this game, they have assumed those losses. So if they don't get to be, you know, the wife of a, you know, if they got to give up marriage, if they got to give up, you know, having a real family structure, you know, if they got to give up all of those things for the power that they get from this dynamic, they have already assumed those losses. Okay, you know, it's like when we see racism online, like, you know, we see the last kid that got shot, we see this and we see that, you know, black people tend to say, oh man, that's sad, that's fucked up, right? We say that, right? Because it's us that's taking the loss. So me and you will have this conversation and we'll say, oh, you know, that's fucked up, we taking the hit, black men are taking the hit. Well, they ain't black men. They're not the ones suffering from this. They are actually benefiting from it. So while we're grumbling, we're that guy standing on the side of the street, you know what I mean? You know, saying this and saying that. They're in the house and they're enjoying the benefits of the thing that we're complaining about. So they're not relating or giving a fuck really about how it's affecting us, because in their eyes, they have been told that we have done this and that to them, and this is their revenge for it. This is the comeback. This is, oh, well, now we got the power. When the narrative is false. There was never a flip side. So, you know, they look at things like, you know, the man who might have abused his wife, or the man who did this, you know, simple male abuses, simple male transgressions, as to this bigger idea of black male patriarchy that's been holding them down for years. You know, they watch shit like The Color Purple and this Mr. and Miss Seeley and shit like that, and they take images like that and they broad stroke that onto the greater relationship between black men and women. And you know, even the movies that come out now, you see like Madam C.J. Walker and the movie about Harriet Tubman and things like that. They say that black women didn't even get here. The first ships that came over here and brought slaves here, they weren't even on them.
Yeah.
Okay,
I get it.
I'm a soon have to go, but go ahead. I want you to respond to that.
Yeah, I mean, so ultimately, I mean, we already know that in terms of the transportation, just in demographics, half of the cargo was black men, a quarter of the cargo was women, and the other quarter was boys and girls. So you already know who the workhorses were. The expendable disposables, the cheap, the sheep, the goats, and the chickens, black men. We the mules. At the end of the day, the mules were the men. Now
they brought the women as incubators to produce more men.
That's it. But at the end of the day, man, at some point I gotta tie all of this back, because in my last video, I made it about Plato, the Ring of Gyges, and how absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Absolutely.
But what I want to do at some point is begin to develop a response to how absolute power corrupts and leaves a withered and a tortured soul. Because at the end of the day, black women can't be feeling good about seeing their men being humiliated and debased. Because at the end of the day, if we all gone and we all fucked up, they're gonna be all gone and fucked up. Because the first strategy is get rid of the men. Then after that, the next act of genocide is the total obliteration of them. So be careful what you wish for. You might be basking in some glory right now, but at the end of the day, the master got some tricks in his bag. So at the end of the day, man, I'm gonna leave it there. Hey, y'all, man, support the channel. You know, I'm working hard out here. Please, if you can, at some point, make the Cash App snap. You know what I'm saying? So thank you, my brother, Marcus. I know you got some things to do. I got some things.
Before we go, I want to say let's definitely do this again, because there's more to be said on this topic and other topics. My page is Keep It 100 on YouTube. And for those that know me on Facebook, Marcus Aurelius. Thanks for watching my live videos, and for my 3 or 4 subscribers on YouTube. I want to thank you all. But the channel is,
help them get it. And
the channel is Keep It 100. Y'all may have seen me speak on the Bitter Truth Show's channel. Every once in a while, he'll post a video of me that he'll grab from Facebook. That's who I am. If you've never seen me before, if you never heard me before, that's me. So I appreciate Mr. Green Gorilla, G with a PhD, for inviting me on in the first place. Educated brothers, and I feel like if they value my opinion, and these are intelligent guys, and I must be, half a brain myself. So I appreciate the invite. And I appreciate it.
One of the things I want people to know about me, I'm always been from the hood. And I'm not one of these artsy-fartsy Negroes. I never in my life have been pretentious and all bougie and shit. I never
No
been
doubt.
that way. So,
No doubt.
and so I just want people to know that. So you can get at me at any time. I'm open. I'm a
Most definitely.
reason from people from any quarter. Because I done heard more knowledge come out of the mouths of the homeless than I have people in the so-called lofty towers of academia. And that's just 100. Talking about keeping it 100. So
Yeah.
peace, my brothers. Stay up and have a good afternoon.
All right. And I'll drop my link in the chat for everybody who asked.
One, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.